And hello and welcome to the Pumpkin Copter Cast, a good old podcast about video games. But today we're going to do something just a little bit different today. I am joined today by cosplayer Cosmic-Empress, who some of you may know, but in various conventions such as PAX and DragonCon. So, hello Cosmic-Empress.
Hello.
So why don't you, for like the -7 people who actually watch the show, what exactly is like cosplaying? If you had to describe it super technically.
The most technical term for it is just costume play. You dress up as a character that you like, or sometimes that your friends like, and you try and embody them as well as you can, and just express your fandom and your appreciation for the characters and the creators who made them.
Okay, so like this is me showing my extreme lack of knowledge here, but is cosplaying like your 9 to 5? Is it your job?
No, it's not mine. There are a handful of people who can do that, mostly thanks to Patreon. Before that, there were print sales. You could sell on Store Envy or Etsy or at conventions. Or you can get what's called be a booth babe. So a company may hire you to bring one of your costumes or make a costume related to their product and wear it at their booth and help sell their products. And those are some of the main ways that cosplayers make money, unless they're the other way would be to make costumes for someone else, which I don't choose to do because I think it's a low profit margin.
Yeah. So was there a specific incident, a specific thing that happened, or was it just sort of a gradual thing that got you into like doing cosplay as like a regular thing at conventions?
I think attending conventions, my first convention I already wore costumes. They were costumes I made for Halloween, so to some degree I don't count them as cosplay, but then I've worn them at conventions as cosplay, so they are cosplay. So picking what my first cosplay was is kind of difficult for me. I wore Tifa Lockhart. It was a small convention, JTAP 5, and it was lots of fun. Some photographers wanted to take my pictures, which was, it feels good when somebody wants to take your picture. And the next day I wore Belle Dandy from Oh My Goddess, and there was a little contest, and I won second prize, and that might have helped a little bit, encouraging me to want to continue to cosplay and do more and more elaborate costumes.
Okay, so in the lead up to this interview, you mentioned that most people know you as Supergirl. Now, is Supergirl a particular favorite superhero of yours, or did you just like, oh hey, this is easy for me to do?
A little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. So growing up, I don't know what year it was from, and I haven't watched it as an adult because whenever you go back and you rewatch something that you loved as a kid, it's kind of ruined because it's really bad quality. So there was a Supergirl movie that I watched religiously as a little girl, and she had this cool bracelet, and it had like a little light on it when emergencies were happening or something. And so I was going to my second Dragon Con. I was like, man, I really want to be a comic book character. And I had this blue spandex that I had bought for Katana. This is a funny Switch thing. So I ended up using that to make my Supergirl suit because I decided only 2 weeks ahead of time, and I didn't have time to pick out other fabric. And it was, a suit is a little bit easier than like a big ball gown or something like that. And it was a character that I related to, and I have blonde hair, so it makes it a little bit easier. Later I bought a secondary material to replace that suit with, and then I actually ended up using that material to make katana. So it's just kind of a funny flip-flop with my fabrics.
And if I can just go on a very brief tangent for a moment, like before, like a day or two before this interview happening right now, I watched your, I think, I'm not sure what year this is. This is either like the beginning of this year or last year, but your brief interview with Two Tall Gamers.
Oh. Yeah.
And you mentioned how, like, at one specific event you dressed up as, now I can't remember the name of this person since I haven't watched Sailor Moon in forever, but you know, the big cosmic figure.
Yeah, New Serenity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and I just, because as soon as you mentioned the name of that person, like, seeing that picture just brought it all back, because I watched a whole bunch of Sailor Moon when I was a kid, because it was all about magical adventures and weird monsters and whatnot, and you know, my cousin is also a very big fan, and you know, she is a huge fan of Sailor Mercury in particular, and so
Okay.
I don't know, just Sailor Moon was fun.
Yeah, they're all cool characters.
And I know you do cosplaying at conventions that are not specifically video game focused, but of all the video game characters you have cosplayed as, which one has been your favorite and why?
I mean, I think the fan favorite would probably be Samus, but I think I like Katana the most. I like blue characters, so it's kind of hard to pick. But I made Katana, so it's a little bit more special to me. And I really like the fans. I tried to play D&D once and have a character with battle fans, but it's a terrible idea because they're only worth 1d4. They're like the weakest weapon you could possibly want, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. You guys are gonna have to pick up the slack because I just like battle fans.
You can't use battle fans, but they're so cool.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but she's actually effective with them in the game, so I really like her.
Whatever works. So, do you have any? Has there ever been a time when, like, making a costume or going to a cosplay event has just not gone as smoothly as you think it should have?
I mean, no cosplay goes as smoothly as I think it should. Like for Neo Queen, I made a muslin piece for it, and there's this scallop part, and I used hard bracelets for part of the embellishment, and I drew the circles from the side of it, and then as I made the top piece, and then I was trying to put these on, and I realized I needed to draw on the outside of it. So I had to start all over on this dress pattern, which I'd already been working on for several weeks. So that was really discouraging, but I had to get it done for a contest with a group. So I muscled through it. I was glad I started it really early, but it did make it so it came down to the wire before I got it finished.
And flipping to the opposite of that, has there been any like specific moment in particular at, I don't know, just you going about your day in costume at a convention where someone just walks up to you and says something particularly nice at your about your outfit, and that just makes your day? Has anything like that happened?
I get occasionally it's really nice to hear, like, I don't know who your character is, but I really like your costume. It just is like you portrayed something so well that it didn't matter if somebody was a fan of it or not. They just really enjoyed what you made. So that's always really nice. when we did, I did Queen Amidala from Star Wars with my best friend, and the crowd's response to that were just super amazing. I wore it one day and she wore it the next day, and we had a Leia costume for whoever wasn't wearing the Amidala one, and I've never attracted a crowd like that in any other cosplay. It was like 20, 30 feet long, like people just taking photos of us. So that was a really great experience in costume, and really flattering because so many people enjoyed the hard work that we put in.
Well, there are quite a few people out there who think that characters in the Star Wars prequels don't get the time of day that they deserve. And seeing two people do it and do it well, I guess, just struck a chord with them.
Yeah.
So, is there any particular character that are not cosplaying currently, but you're looking forward to, like, at some point in the future?
Yes. There's a artwork by, I think her name is No Flutter, she did, I think it's a she, these reinvented kind of the Sailor Moon look with an armor. I can't remember if she did the other one. There's someone that also did one, but I really like the style of this one, and I'm going to be looking forward to making that one soon and doing it.
Oh, that's good. So, what else? Just off the top of my head, have you, like, whatever costume you've dressed up as, have you ever ran into a fellow cosplayer who was dressed as either the same person or someone else from that franchise, and you ended up, like, taking a few photos together, or, like, comparing notes?
I don't know about comparing notes, but I definitely run into characters or people dressed up as characters in the same universe as me all the time, and definitely do photo shoots together when we find each other sometimes. It can be hard getting the photos back to them if it's like my photographer sometimes, but yeah, that just kind of naturally happens when you're in a character. You find other people, and sometimes you become friends, and sometimes it's just a brief moment that you share together.
So, bad audio on my side. So, almost had it.
So you want to do one final question?
Sorry. So are there any other cosplayers that you've run into or that you follow that you either look up to, like, just because they're there, or, like, do you get any ideas from fellow cosplayers ever?
I like, my most inspiration always comes from my friends in the cosplay community, just because we can speak to each other and really bounce off ideas from each other. So of course, a big inspiration for me was Jessie Thaxton, who's also a fashion designer, and we did WCS together. And during that experience, I learned so many new techniques from her and things that I just wouldn't have thought about otherwise. So I think I look up most to someone like that who's willing to share their experience with me personally and bring up our quality together.
All right, it's always good to hear stories of mutual cooperation going well. So, is there anything you want to bring up before we sign off? Anything you want to plug?
I think it's good for everyone to try cosplay. Also, but don't be over ambitious when you start. But as you keep going, do become more and more ambitious, because the more ambitious you are and you succeed at it, the more satisfying it becomes.
All right, let's say that that's a good note to end it on. Since as Supergirl, I'm sure you have somewhere up and away to go.
Yep, time to save some people.
So just a quick thank you to you, Cosmic-Empress, for putting up with all my malarkey, and for those of you out there listening, I believe if you're interested, follow Cosmic-Empress on, I believe, Facebook and Instagram is where you post a lot of your stuff.
Most of my stuff, yeah. Also on Twitter occasionally.
Alright, so, and is it all Cosmic-Empress or some variation thereof?
Yeah, Cosmic-Empress or Cosmic-Empress.
Alright then, so there you go. I'll be sure to post some links in the description for ease of following. And, you know, if you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe, really helps me out. Follow me on Twitter at tcorman83 and blah, 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 blah. So, this has been the Pumpkin Copter Cast, a good old podcast about cosplaying today. And this has been Cosmic-Empress.
Bye!
Thank you and goodbye.